Standard 11. This is our standard where we get into the rise of big business, labor unions, and how different advancements in technology really pushed the U.S. economy into a very competitive global environment. So, the first of which that we've mentioned previously is railroads. Now, railroads in the eastern portion of the United States were pretty widespread and used, as we discussed during the Civil War, especially in the northern states. But now we're talking spreading to the west. So, trying to help fulfill manifest destiny or connect the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. So, you have the transcontinental railroad that's being built that plays a huge role in the expansion of the steel industry. So we connected Andrew Carnegie and the Carnegie Steel Company with the uh, rapid expansion of the railroads because they just went hand in hand. You had to have steel as the best material at the time to make the rails itself. And so if you are expanding the railroads, then the steel industry is just naturally going to expand with it. And then with the oil industry, we mentioned John D. Rockefeller. Now, with Rockefeller and Carnegie, we discussed how both trust and monopolies played a part in the maybe a little bit of the distrust of the government tied into business, donations and influence. And so we got into that a little bit. But the main thing to know here is this was the first time in the United States where you had the development of such big businesses that people kind of were a little bit hesitant, not completely, but a little bit hesitant to the point where they said, should monopolies be allowed? But in a capitalist economy, that is the idea. A very competitive environment. If your business is better than other businesses and you do well, then that's good for you and your business. And that's kind of the view at the time for the most part. Then we connected with the development of infrastructure, not with just railroads, but also with canals, and how you started to have the development of better, faster travel, which was good for business. You had the early use of the telegraph, so the ability to send a telegram on the telegraph with Samuel Morse, that developed into Alexander Graham Bell's invention with the telephone, and then Thomas Edison's improvement on the electric light bulb, allowing businesses to be able to move away from using waterways as a source of fueling and running their factories to now being able to move anywhere, and you stay open 24 hours. And it made that whole concept of, well, as long as I stay, with my business moving and I can bring in labor later in the evening and all that, it connects to Ellis and Angel Island. With the expansion of the U.S. economy, you had a lot of jobs available. So for various reasons, people from different countries all over the world were looking at the United States as a possible opportunity, a chance to make a better life, much like many people do now. They view the ability to move up in society that the United States offers as a huge plus, and kind of a hope or a reason why they would want to come to the United States. And so that is where we get Ellis Island, which we mentioned was mainly European immigrants on the east, coming to the East Coast of New York. And then you had Angel Island, which was mainly Asian immigrants and primarily Chinese immigrants at this point in history coming to the West Coast to get some opportunities with jobs that were available. Now, with so many immigrants coming into the United States, the upper hand kind of went with the business owners, so the management, that they had the upper hand in the sense that if someone did not like the conditions, they didn't feel like they were getting paid enough, or it was kind of unheard of to have the idea of sick leave and vacation and minimum wage and all that. It just allowed businesses to be like, well, if you don't like that, then we will hire someone else, because there's thousands of people coming in that would love to have these jobs. And so you had the development of unions, which was early attempts to try to gain some foothold. And you had the American Federation of Labor that Samuel Gompers was the head of, and this focused primarily on skilled workforce to say, well, you'd have to train someone to have this skill, and that would take more time, and you could lose money as a business owner. And so they had a little more of a say than maybe just your average worker. And that's Standard 11.